All right, hey there. So we are going to make some videos about various tasks and operations that you can do in the furtherance of increasing the privacy and security of what you're doing and disconnecting from some of the more egregious offending products and services out there. The first thing that I want to give some help in getting set up is using a Hubzilla account. So Hubzilla is a platform for dealing with websites and content, has decentralized identity, communications, and permissions, and it allows you to do a lot of the stuff that you might do on a social network site like Google Plus or Facebook, something like that, but without a lot of the evil gathering of data and sharing with other people and trying to market things to you and all of that. Hubzilla is an open source project. You can run the server yourself. I'm not going to talk about setting up your own server. If you want to do that, go to hubzilla.org and take a look at that. It's relatively easy to do if that's the kind of thing you do. But I do have a Hubzilla server set up that you can come and use at redmatrix.us, and that's what I'm going to kind of cover. It's really pretty straightforward. So redmatrix.us, you come to this website. The basic website is here. You may come into my profile. If I gave you a link to that, my profile is MMC1800 at redmatrix channel MMC1800. Okay, so, and this is some of my stuff that's on my page. Anyway, go to the register page, which is where you're going to come to if you want to, and put in your email address. I have set up a email address for this. The truth about this setup is that we don't in Hubzilla. It's really up to your pod admin. Each server admin, hub admin would be able to set up their own terms of service and how they what they would require from you, but Hubzilla itself doesn't require that you use real names or that you have any particular information provided. We do request that you have an email address that you can get access to maintain your server if you want to change your password or if you want to do be contacted somehow, that you have an email address. But it doesn't have to be any particular email address. It doesn't have to be connected with any particular identity. So I have this one set up. I'm going to give myself a password here for this. I'm going to set this up that I'm over 13 years old and click register. And that is, I have this registration successful. Please check your email. Some people apparently miss this when it comes up, so be aware that it does send you an email and that you need to go get that email. Then I'm going to come in here to my Gmail account for this account. And log in. And there is my registration confirmation. So click on that. It's going to show my information here. And follow this link. And then it brings me into my create channel site. Now, channels in Hubzilla are a lot like your profile page in Facebook, your where you are, right? So this channel role here is about my kind of default channel and how I'm going to set that up. Hubzilla, unlike a lot of these other services, has really a lot of customization possibilities. The way that you can set up who can see what inside your profile is very granular. It's very very involved, and you can get right down to each person and each item and exactly who you want to have see what. But there are defaults, and social mostly public is kind of the default there. And I'm gonna create a name for this channel and a name for myself that I'm going to use. So this account is Free Dude, so I'm going to name the nickname and channel Free Dude, and I'm going to create this. And my nickname here is going to create a thing that looks a little bit like an email address, but it's not an email address. It is my identity for Hubzilla, and so it's going to be this Free Dude at redmatrix.us when I create that. So I'm going to create this channel. This gives me my default channel. I'm going to give my channel settings, my time zone. I can check these options if I want to. I'm just going to leave this the way that it is, right? There's more settings down here, but I'm going to leave these the way that they are. You can also set up notifications about whether you want to have it send you emails when things come in, and posting status messages and emails, updates. All of this is very configurable inside Hubzilla, but you also don't need to configure very much of it. So if we just leave this all the way it is and submit, I can now go to my home here. This little home button up here will take you to your home, channel home, which is your default home. This is my default home channel. I now can post things here that would be kind of like a status update, that type of thing. I can also, I have file storage. I can upload photos. There's quite a few details here. I can edit my profile in here. Though I'm going to put a profile picture up here. So I'm going to go ahead and go edit profile, go to my profile tools, change my profile photo, upload a file here. Let me find something that I want to throw up here. How's that one? Okay, there's my profile photo. Upload it. I can crop it a little bit so that it's what I really want to have. Done editing that. And now that's my profile photo. So as I set up this profile, if I want to connect with people, right, like if I want to have friends, I can look at this directory, which is actually initially going to bring up a directory of people that are on this server, and that is the redmatrix.us server, the server that I'm running and setting up. If I want to connect with somebody that I see here, right, this guy looks pretty cool, so if I connect to him, now I have a channel added. I can set up particular permissions, but this default permission setting is basically I can look at the details of what I'm allowing that to do, but I now have that as a connection. So my connections, I have this here. If I want to click on this, I'll come and see what this cool dude has been up to lately. And as when there's an update in this channel, I will get it in my grid, which is right here, this little square thing up here, right? So if I want to look for people that are not on this server, I can uncheck this website only. If I want to see people who are possibly displaying adult content or other kind of questionable stuff that have kind of self-regulated themselves, I can undo safe mode, and then I'm going to get various people. You see there are people here. So if I want to connect with somebody, oh, this is one of my friends has set up while I'm in the middle of making this video. Here she is. So I can connect there if I wanted to, or click on the picture and take a look at her setup, right? And so you see here, I've already got this little number 38 that's popped up here. That's popped up because I added the channel, Michael McKenzie, and all of the kind of activity that goes along with that channel has now been put into my grid. right? So unlike Facebook, that's going to tell you on its own what it decides you should see and what you shouldn't see, you get to decide what you're going to see and what you're not going to see. And so now that's here in my grid. This is kind of like my default, what I've chosen to see, right? So, and as you add more things, something new comes up, then that would pop up. Since I looked at it, it's all gone here. And it's basically how this starts to work. If you want help, there's actually a pretty reasonable for an open source project help section here. You can go into help and see what is Hubzilla, features for members, right? How you do this. There's quite a bit of stuff here. You also have a calendar. You can set up events, deal with that. These are private messages. You can send private mail to other people. And anything that you publish inside Hubzilla, you can set who can see it and who can't. You can set up groups. There's quite a bit of functionality inside here. I can add a privacy group and set particular features for each of those. And we have a lot of functionality and features inside this. This allows us to communicate without our data and connections being sent around to the NSA and to Facebook, and having them, or even Google for that matter, having those organizations being able to market and sell your data and also try to sell you products, etc. You can also set up your own server. One of the really amazing and interesting things about this particular setup is that this is a decentralized and autonomous system. So even if you decided you liked Hubzilla, but you were worried that maybe I'm kind of a flake and I'm not going to keep my server up because you're connecting into my server, you can actually come into your settings here and export your identity. So you can come into your settings. There's really a lot of stuff to do inside here. If you notice that when I clicked on this gear mark, right, it took me into apps, right? This is a very extensible and customizable open source project. So these apps you can create, and different developers create them, and different hubs have different versions of the apps. You don't have to worry about that too much here, but just to know that there's a lot possible in this besides just a social networking application. This is quite interesting as a platform for doing a lot of things. But back to what I was talking about with your identity, right? If you're worried that I'm a flake and maybe you're not gonna be able to get onto my server all the time, you might worry about that. You can actually export your channel and all of your content. You own all of your content on this server, unlike Facebook, which you are allowing them to own your content when you upload it here. You continue to own your content here, and you can export your channel, which is your basic information. See this put a file here for me, and I can export my content, which puts another file down here. And these files allow you could go to a different Hubzilla site. If you go back to the Hubzilla kind of central site, you can either run your own hub, right? So say you decide you really like Hubzilla, but you don't really trust me and you're not sure if I'm someone you want to have any kind of trust in, because if I worked really hard at it, I could probably dig into some of your data personally if you're doing it on my server. But you can go ahead and install your own server, run your own hub, and then you can import that identity out of this channel, and anybody who's created a connection with you or allowed you to see content or have any kind of a relationship with them, that identity will be able to follow you to a new server. So you're not most of these kind of alternative social sites on the internet are little islands, and you have to make a new account at each one. In this situation, that's not what you're doing. Now there's also a very interesting so you can export your account and do that. So if you look at my public site, right, this is not this new account I made, I'm free dude here, but this handsome young man here is an existing user and has several connections. Now many of these connections are not on the server. They're not on redmatrix.us. They're somewhere else. So when I click on one of these, it's going to take me to that channel, which actually exists on a different server, on a different web host somewhere. And it's going to go ahead and authenticate me with this identity without me having to do anything. So if you notice this here, it just said, welcome, free dude, remote authentication successful, right? And so now I've come into this channel, which is channel 1, and this is a support, and it's the basic channel. Mike McGovern is one of the main developer and creator, I believe, of Hubzilla, and he seems to be the most active and helpful dude in the whole project. And so he is here, and I can connect to this channel. This will become part of what I've got, right? This channel is added. If I go to my home here, I've got this channel added, and information will start to come into my grid from that channel. But you notice I didn't have to do anything, even though the website address up here changed to mcgirvin.com. That's his server where this channel resides. But now this server authenticates me against this identity, and I can move that identity to another server. So I don't think Mike McGirvin.com lets you log in as a new user. He only uses that for his friends and family. But if you find a public server, if you decide to make your own, you'll be able to move that identity with you. And so your connections, your content, your relationships, your identity online are your own to carry with you and along with your content. So Hubzilla is a very exciting and interesting platform. It replaces, for me, social media sites like Facebook and Google Plus, even Twitter for that matter, and the ability that we have to connect and share information with granular control over the access, who sees what and how, and what you're sharing with them, which includes files and photos and a variety of stuff, along with this decentralized ability to keep your identity with you, is pretty important. So that's that, and if you have any trouble setting this up, just get in touch with me, and I will be happy to help you out. Hope the video helps. Thanks. Bye.